Welcome, the anointed ones. When a lion roars, it doesn't explain itself to the jungle. It just reminds everyone who's king. Chosen one. This isn't the season for soft-spoken apologies or spiritual tiptoeing. This is the era where you stand 10 toes down on every word you've spoken, every move you've made, and every boundary you've enforced, without blinking, stuttering, or second-guessing. You're not here to blend in anymore. You're here to disrupt timelines. Here's a brutal fact most can't stomach. The majority of people don't fear your failure. They fear your follow-through. They could tolerate you when you were hesitating, unsure, dimming your light to keep the peace. But now that you've activated full conviction mode, now that you're not just saying things but standing on them, oh, they're panicking like someone just yelled rapture at a club. Because here's what they didn't see coming. You're not just bold, you're strategic. Not just spiritual, but surgical with your boundaries. And the moment you stopped trying to make everyone comfortable with your growth, the moment you stopped softening your stance for approval, you became untouchable. And let's be honest, the silence used to be your weapon, but now your presence alone is the policy, so buckle up. Because in this video, we're diving into the raw, soul-deep reasons why the world is shook that you're no longer playing the game, and why they'll never be ready for the version of you who means every single word they say. And yes, for those who thought you'd fold after one spiritual attack or emotional ambush, you didn't fold, you fortified. Let's talk about it. Number 1. You're not looking for permission. You've already been anointed. You're not waiting on anyone's green light anymore. You've stopped seeking permission to be powerful. That begging for acceptance version of you is gone. You've realized something that shattered everything you used to believe. The people you were hoping would approve of you were never qualified to recognize your assignment in the first place. They weren't blind. They just didn't want to see you win. And now that you finally stepped into your authority, unapologetically and boldly, they're scrambling, confused, and low-key terrified. Why? Because the version of you that needed validation is dead, and the one that replaced it? That one is dangerous. You know now that you were anointed, not appointed by man. Your power didn't come from popularity, praise, or platforms. It came from pain. It came from the dark seasons, the betrayals, the spiritual surgeries you survived when no one checked on you. You earned your voice the hard way, through fire. And now that you're speaking from that place of survival, people can feel the weight in your words. You don't speak to be heard. You speak to shift things. And because your presence is disruptive to anything fake, shallow, or manipulative, you make people uneasy without even trying. They used to be comfortable when you questioned yourself. They liked it better when you played small, when you kept second-guessing your next move, when you waited for a yes from people who didn't even like themselves. But now you walk in rooms and change the temperature. Not with arrogance, but with certainty. You've stopped explaining your purpose to people who weren't even listening. You've stopped watering down your truth for crowds that never had your back. You've stood up, straightened your spine, and said, "This is who I am, take it or step aside." And guess what? You're not backing down from that position. You're done negotiating your destiny. If people can't handle your truth, they can leave the table. You didn't come here to be tolerated. You came here to dominate the space God gave you. And now that you're standing on that truth like solid rock, you've become a force they can't predict, control, or silence. You're not playing anymore, and it shows. Number 2, you're holding the same energy in private that you preach in public. You're not putting on a performance for the outside world anymore. What people see in public now is exactly who you are in private. There's no double life, no split personality, no pretending to be wise on social media while secretly drowning in self-doubt behind closed doors. You've aligned, you've integrated. Your public image finally matches your private integrity, and that's exactly why people can't manipulate you anymore. You're not scared of being exposed because there's nothing fake about you to expose. You're not living for approval. You're living in truth. That kind of consistency makes people nervous. Not because you're doing too much, but because you're too real for their games. They can't guilt-trip you when you already own your past. They can't weaponize your flaws when you've stopped hiding them. You're not trying to look perfect anymore. You're too focused on being whole. There's power in that. There's peace in that. And there's a quiet kind of authority that shows up when your life is in sync. You don't have to say much because your energy says, "I don't have time for masks. This is who I am. Take it or watch me from a distance." People used to feel like they had leverage over you. They thought they knew how to corner you emotionally. But now, you've stopped leaking information. You've stopped oversharing with people who don't even pray for you. You've pulled your power back in and placed it under divine authority. You walk with clarity now, and it's unsettling to those who benefited from your confusion. You no longer have to overcompensate or explain why you're not the old you. That's because your life already proves it. The way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the decisions you make, all of it is built on alignment, not performance. You've become the same person behind the scenes as you are when everyone's watching, and that makes you untouchable. They can't catch you slipping because you're not switching. You're not afraid of the spotlight anymore because your shadow work is done. That's the kind of freedom that can't be bought, faked, or borrowed. That's the kind of power that comes from living in truth, not for applause, but for purpose. Number 3, your boundaries are now built like castles, not suggestions. You're no longer asking people to respect your boundaries, you've built them like castles now. And the drawbridge only lowers for those who carry peace, not problems. Before, you used to explain your limits, hoping people would understand. You'd give second, third, and fourth chances, convincing yourself that maybe they didn't mean it that way. You thought being patient made you strong. You thought being forgiving meant letting people walk all over you with muddy shoes. Not anymore. Now your boundaries are solid, not walls built from fear, but fortresses built from wisdom. You've seen what happens when you let the wrong energy too close. You felt the emotional hangovers after letting people stay longer than they deserved. You've witnessed firsthand how draining it is to keep accommodating people who only show up to take. So, you shifted. You stopped giving unlimited access to people who treat your presence like it's disposable. You stopped answering calls that disturb your spirit. You stopped explaining your distance, your silence, your protection. The new you doesn't need to shout, "I've changed." Your boundaries say it for you. When people try to test you now, they find out real quick. The old emotional loopholes are sealed. No more guilt tripping, no more manipulation, no more maybe just this once. You don't play tug-of-war with your peace anymore. It's sacred, and you guard it like royalty. What's crazy is how some people took your kindness for weakness until you showed them your sword. They didn't expect you to grow a backbone because they were used to your softness. But growth required you to become selective. And no, that's not selfish. That's survival. You're not cold, you're clear. There's a difference. Your peace didn't come easy. You fought for it in therapy, in prayer, and solitude. You earned it in the dark when nobody was clapping for you. So why would you let anyone disturb it for the sake of being polite? You're done bending, so others feel tall. You're done shrinking, so others feel safe. If someone can't handle your boundaries, they were never built to respect your soul in the first place. The message is simple now. Enter respectfully, or don't enter at all. Number 4. You're no longer a mirror for people's insecurities. You're a magnifier of truth. You no longer reflect people's insecurities back to them like you used to. You used to absorb their projections, their blame,